4 weeks without sound changed everything. Not because I lost my hearing, but because I got it back at exactly the right moment. When you can't hear, people think they can say anything around you. My daughter Emma thought so too. What I heard when the doctor said my hearing was restored made me realize I had been wrong about everything. But it also showed me the most beautiful truth about my child. Before we continue, first let me thank you for watching Granny's Voice. Please subscribe and tell us where you're watching from in the comments. We might give you a shout out in our next video. Today's special shout out goes to Pumalam Beat from South Africa. Thank you for being part of our family. Oh, let me tell you everything. The steady beep of the heart monitor suddenly filled my ears like music. After 4 weeks of complete silence, that simple electronic sound was the most wonderful thing I had ever heard. I pressed my hand to my chest, feeling tears roll down my cheeks. "Mrs. Johnson," Dr. Martinez said clearly. "Can you hear me now?" I nodded, afraid to speak and break this miracle. The hearing test was over, and every sound was crystal clear. My hands shook as I removed the headphones. "It's back," I whispered, then louder, amazed at my own voice. "Everything is back." Dr. Martinez smiled and wrote on her chart. I could hear the pen scratching on paper. Another sound I had forgotten existed. "The infection has completely cleared. Your hearing is now normal in both ears." For weeks ago, that terrible ear infection had stolen my world of sound. The pain had been awful, but the silence that followed was worse. "Complete hearing loss," they said. "Maybe forever." But here I was, listening to the hospital come alive around me. Footsteps in the hallway, conversations at the nurse's station, the whoosh of elevator doors. Emma would be so surprised. She had been taking such wonderful care of me, moving back home to help while I recovered. My heart felt warm thinking about her face when I walked through the door and called her name. "I need to call my daughter," I said, reaching for my phone. "Let's finish your discharge first," Dr. Martinez said. "We want to document everything properly." I signed papers with trembling hands, barely reading the words. The pen felt strange in my grip. Nurse Kelly explained my follow-up visits, but I was thinking about Emma's reaction when I surprised her. "Take it slow for the first few days," Nurse Kelly was saying. "Your brain needs time to adjust to hearing again." I thanked them both and walked to the elevator, my shoes clicking on the tile floor. Each sound felt like a gift. The elevator chimed softly as the doors opened. I stepped inside and pressed the button for the parking garage. Even that small click seemed amazing. My old Honda sat where Emma had parked it 4 weeks ago. I had been so scared then, facing the possibility of never hearing again. Starting the engine, I almost laughed at the familiar sound. The radio came on automatically, playing a song Emma and I used to dance to in the kitchen. "Everything happens for a reason," I said out loud, something my mother used to tell me during hard times. My voice sounded strange in the car, but wonderfully clear. The drive home took 20 minutes through busy traffic. Cars honked, engines rumbled, and tires squealed around me. I had forgotten how noisy the world was, how alive it sounded. My neighborhood looked the same as always. Small houses with neat gardens and children playing in their yards. Mrs. Chen was watering her flowers, the sprinkler making soft splashing sounds. Down the street, kids were riding bikes and calling to each other. A dog barked happily somewhere nearby. I pulled into my driveway and sat for a moment, looking at the little blue house Emma and I had shared since her father passed away. Her car was parked beside mine. She was probably inside making lunch or reading one of her books. Should I call out as soon as I walked in or surprise her? Maybe I could find her in the living room and just start talking normally. Watch her face light up with joy and amazement. I decided to surprise her. Walking up the front steps, I heard voices from inside. Emma was talking to someone on the phone. Perfect. I could surprise her while she was distracted. I used my key quietly and opened the front door slowly. The voices became clearer as I stepped into the hallway. "Mom is the strongest person I know," Emma's voice came from the kitchen. I stopped walking, my hand still on the doorknob. Something in her tone made me want to listen. She's been so brave through all of this, Emma continued. I don't know how she does it. I stayed very still, not wanting to interrupt what sounded like an important conversation. No, she doesn't know I'm worried, Emma said to whoever was on the phone. She always pretends everything is fine, even when it's not. That's just who she is. She's been taking care of everyone else her whole life. My eyes filled with tears as I listened to my daughter's words. I moved back home because I wanted to, Emma was saying. Not because I had to. Mom gave up so much to raise me after Dad died. The least I can do is be here when she needs me. My legs felt weak. These were my daughter's words about me, spoken when she thought no one could hear. The daughter I had worried about burdening, the daughter I thought might resent having to care for her sick mother. I remained perfectly still in that hallway, listening to Emma talk about me with such love and respect. My chest felt full of warmth instead of the worry I had carried for weeks. She thinks she's a burden, Emma continued, and I could hear tears in her voice. Can you believe that? The woman who worked 2 jobs to put me through college thinks she's a burden because she got sick. I pressed my back against the wall, hardly breathing. I needed to hear more. I needed to understand what my daughter really thought about our situation. Moving carefully down the hallway, I got closer to the kitchen doorway. Emma's conversation continued, and every word made my heart feel lighter. The doctor said her hearing might never come back, Emma was saying. But I don't care. I'll learn sign language if I have to. I'll do whatever it takes. She paused, listening to whoever was on the other end. Of course it's hard sometimes, but that's what family does. She taught me that. I gripped the wall, fighting back tears of joy and gratitude. You know what the hardest part is? Emma asked, watching her try to hide how scared she is. She writes me these little notes trying to be cheerful, but I can see the fear in her eyes. She's terrified of being alone in the silence. Emma's voice broke slightly. I just want her to know she's not alone. She'll never be alone as long as I'm here. I had to cover my mouth to keep from crying out loud. All this time, I thought Emma was sacrificing her young life to care for her sick mother. I need to go, Emma said. Mom should be back from the doctor soon. I want to have lunch ready for her. There was another pause. I know she can't hear me when I talk to her, but I still tell her I love her every day. Just in case some part of her knows. I heard Emma moving around the kitchen, probably preparing food. Had to test this. I had to see if Emma's actions matched her beautiful words. Taking a deep breath, I coached myself. The same way. Act like you still can't hear. Watch her face and see the love she just talked about. I walked into the kitchen, making my footsteps slightly heavy like someone being careful. Emma was at the counter making sandwiches, and when she saw me, her whole face lit up with genuine happiness. Mom, she said loudly, rushing over to hug me tight. How did it go at the doctor's? I could feel the warmth and love in her embrace. This was real. This was my daughter showing exactly the care and concern she had just described on the phone. I pointed to my ears and shrugged, pretending I couldn't hear her response. Emma immediately grabbed the notepad we had been using for the past 4 weeks. She wrote quickly. Doctor says hearing might come back soon. How are you feeling? I read the note and nodded, giving her a small smile. Inside, I was noticing every detail of her behavior. The way she looked at me with such genuine concern. The way she touched my shoulder gently, like I was precious to her. The way she had prepared my favorite lunch without being asked. Emma wrote another note. I made chicken soup. Your favorite. I nodded gratefully and hugged her again. This was the same daughter who had just told someone on the phone that caring for me was not a burden but a privilege. Emma guided me to the kitchen table where she had set 2 places. She had made enough soup for both of us, planning to eat together like we did every day. As we ate, Emma wrote little notes on the pad. Mrs. Chen's cat had kittens. The weather is getting warmer. I rented that movie you wanted to see. Every note was cheerful and loving, just like Emma had said on the phone. She was trying to keep my spirits up, trying to make my silent world less lonely. When I pretended to look tired, Emma immediately wrote, "Do you want to rest? I can clean up." I shook my head and wrote back, "Thank you for taking such good care of me." Emma read my note and her eyes filled with tears. She wrote back, "I love taking care of you, Mom. You're my hero." I had to look away to hide my own tears. For the next hour, I watched Emma continue to show the love she had expressed on the phone. She helped me with little things without making me feel helpless. She talked to me in a normal voice even though she thought I couldn't hear, just like she had told her friend. She told me about her day, about things that had happened while I was at the doctor, about her plans for the weekend. All spoken with patience and love, even though she thought I couldn't respond. Finally, I pointed upstairs and wrote a note saying I was tired and wanted to rest. Emma hugged me again and wrote, "Of course, Mom. Sleep as long as you need." As I walked toward the stairs, I heard her voice behind me, speaking normally even though she thought I couldn't hear. "I love you, Mom," she said quietly. "Sweet dreams." I climbed those stairs with my heart full of joy instead of the worry I had carried for so long. When I reached my bedroom, I sat on the edge of the bed and finally allowed myself to cry. But these were tears of happiness, not sadness. All this time, I had been worried about being a burden to Emma. I had felt guilty for needing her help, afraid that I was ruining her young life. But Emma saw it completely differently. She saw caring for me as a way to show love, not as a duty or a burden. I looked at the photo on my nightstand. Emma at her college graduation, her arm around my shoulders, both of us smiling at the camera. That girl had grown into an amazing woman, and I had been too worried about myself to see it clearly. From downstairs, I could hear Emma humming while she cleaned the kitchen. She was happy. Taking care of me made her happy because it gave her a way to show her love. I moved quietly to my bedroom door to listen better. Emma was still humming, a song we used to sing together when she was little. Occasionally she would talk to our cat, Whiskers, in that baby voice people use with pets. "Mommy's home now," she was saying. "She looked tired today. We need to take extra good care of her, don't we?" Even when she thought no one could hear, Emma was focused on my well-being. I heard Emma's phone ring. She answered it cheerfully. "Hi, Sarah." "Yes, Mom got back from the doctor." There was a pause. "No change yet, but I'm staying hopeful. The doctors said it could still come back." Another pause, longer this time. "Sarah, can I tell you something? I actually hope it takes a while to come back. I know that sounds terrible, but I love having this time with Mom. We're closer now than we've ever been." I pressed my ear closer to the door. "When I was growing up, Mom was always so busy taking care of everyone else," Emma continued. "She worked so hard, did so much for everyone. Now I finally get to take care of her for once. It feels good to give back some of what she gave me." My heart felt like it might burst with love and pride. This beautiful young woman was my daughter. I had raised someone who understood the joy of caring for others. "I know some people think I'm crazy for putting my life on hold," Emma was saying. "But this isn't putting my life on hold. This is my life. Taking care of the person who took care of me. Making sure she knows how much she means to me." There was another pause. "Mom always puts everyone else first. For once, someone is putting her first. And I'm honored that someone gets to be me." I had to sit down on my bed because my legs were shaking. Not from weakness, but from overwhelming emotion. Emma continued talking. "You should see how brave she is, Sarah. She never complains, never feels sorry for herself. She just adapts and keeps going. She's teaching me so much about strength and grace." I thought about all the times I had felt weak and scared, all the times I had cried in private. Emma saw strength where I saw weakness. "I need to start dinner soon," Emma said. "I want to make Mom's favorite meal tonight. She's been through so much." After she hung up, I heard Emma moving around the kitchen, getting pots and pans ready. She was cooking for me, planning to make something special, all because she wanted to bring joy to my day. I lay back on my bed and stared at the ceiling, processing everything I had learned about my daughter in the past 2 hours. All my worries had been for nothing. Emma didn't see me as a burden. She saw me as her beloved mother who deserved care and attention. She wasn't sacrificing her life to help me. She was living her life by choosing love and family. I had taught her well, perhaps better than I knew. The values I had tried to instill in her had taken root and grown into something beautiful. I thought about how to handle this situation. Should I tell Emma immediately that my hearing had returned? Should I continue pretending for a while longer? Part of me wanted to keep listening to her honest thoughts and feelings. But another part of me felt guilty for deceiving her, even with the best intentions. Emma was being completely genuine and loving. She deserved honesty in return. I decided to tell her the truth, but in a special way. Emma deserved to know that her love and care had not gone unnoticed or unappreciated. She deserved to know how much her words had meant to me, how much they had changed my understanding of our relationship. I got up and went to my desk, pulling out a piece of paper and a pen. I would write her a letter explaining everything. My dear Emma, I began writing. Today I got the most wonderful gift. Not just my hearing back, but the chance to hear how much you love me. I continued writing, telling her about the conversation I had overheard, about how her words had healed something in my heart that I didn't even know was broken. I told her how proud I was of the woman she had become, how grateful I was for her care, and how much I loved her. As I wrote, I could smell dinner cooking downstairs. Emma was making pot roast, my absolute favorite meal. She had remembered every detail of how I liked it prepared. The smell brought back memories of Sunday dinners when Emma was growing up, when we would cook together and talk about everything and nothing. Those had been some of the happiest times of my life. Now Emma was recreating those memories for me. I finished the letter and sealed it in an envelope. Then I walked quietly to the top of the stairs and listened to Emma in the kitchen. She was humming again that same song from earlier. Occasionally she would talk to Whiskers, always about taking care of me. "Mommy will love this dinner," she was saying. "I made it just the way she likes it." The love in her voice was unmistakable. I made a decision. I would go downstairs and surprise Emma with the truth about my hearing. But first, I would let her finish making dinner. She was putting so much love into it, and I wanted to honor that effort. I wanted to taste her cooking and tell her how wonderful it was. I wanted to have one perfect dinner together before everything changed. At 6 o'clock, I heard Emma call up the stairs in her loud voice. "Mom, dinner is ready." I came down slowly, playing my part one last time. Emma had set the table beautifully with our good dishes and a small vase of flowers from the garden. The pot roast looked and smelled amazing. She had prepared everything perfectly, just the way I had taught her years ago. We sat down to eat, and Emma wrote me a note saying, "I hope you like it. I tried to make it just like you taught me." I tasted the food and it was delicious. Emma had become an excellent cook. I wrote back, "It's perfect. Thank you for taking such good care of me." Emma smiled and wrote, "Taking care of you is easy because I love you so much." That's when I knew it was time to tell her the truth. I stood up from the table and walked to the kitchen counter where I had left my letter. Emma watched me with concern, probably wondering what I was doing. I brought the envelope back to the table and placed it in front of her. Then I sat down and looked directly into her eyes. "Emma," I said in a clear, normal voice, "I need you to read this letter." Emma's fork fell from her hand and clattered onto her plate. Her eyes went wide with shock and joy. "Mom," she whispered, "can you hear me?" I nodded, tears streaming down my face. "I can hear every word, sweetheart. And what I heard today was the most beautiful thing anyone has ever said about me." Emma started crying and laughing at the same time. She jumped up and ran around the table to hug me tight. "When did your hearing come back?" Emma asked through her tears. "This afternoon at the doctor's office," I replied. "But I decided not to tell you right away because I wanted to see how you really felt about taking care of me." Emma pulled back to look at me. "How I really felt? Mom, I love taking care of you. It's not a burden. It's a privilege." I handed her the letter. "I know that now. Please read this." Emma opened the envelope and read my letter while I watched her face. Her expression went from surprise to joy to tears of happiness. When she finished reading, she looked up at me with shining eyes. "You heard my phone conversation with Sarah?" she asked. I nodded. "Every word. And it changed everything for me, Emma. I've been so worried about being a burden to you, about ruining your young life. But you see it completely differently." "Mom, you could never be a burden," Emma said firmly. "You're my mother. You raised me, loved me, sacrificed for me. Now I get to love you back the same way. It's not a sacrifice. It's joy." We sat at that dinner table and talked for 2 hours. We talked about everything. About Emma's childhood, about her father, about our fears and our hopes. We talked in ways we had never talked before. "I have a confession," Emma said as we were cleaning up the dishes together. "What's that?" I asked. "Part of me was secretly glad when you lost your hearing," she said, looking embarrassed. "Not because I wanted you to suffer, but because it meant you needed me. For the first time in my adult life, you needed me more than I needed you. And I loved being able to take care of you the way you always took care of me." I stopped washing dishes and looked at my daughter with amazement. "Emma, you are the most wonderful person I know," I said. "When did you become so wise?" She laughed. "I learned from the best teacher in the world. You." We finished cleaning the kitchen together, talking and laughing like we hadn't done in years. My hearing loss had brought us closer together, and getting my hearing back had made us closer still. That night, as I was getting ready for bed, Emma knocked on my door. "Mom, can I ask you something?" she said. "Of course, sweetheart. Even though your hearing is back, can I still take care of you for a little while longer? I'm not ready to go back to my apartment yet. I love living here with you." I hugged her tight. "Emma, this is your home for as long as you want it to be. And I love having you here." "There's something else," Emma said. "I've been thinking about this for weeks. I want to move back home permanently. Not because you need me, but because I need you. I miss being close to my family. I miss Sunday dinners and movie nights and just talking with my mom." My heart felt like it might explode with happiness. "Are you sure?" I asked. "This is your decision to make, not something you should do out of obligation." "I'm absolutely sure," Emma said. "Mom, these past 4 weeks have been some of the happiest of my adult life. Not because of your illness, but because we got to be together every day. We got to take care of each other. I want that to continue." I thought about Emma's small apartment across town, about the life she had built there. "What about your independence? What about dating and having your own space?" Emma smiled. "Mom, independence doesn't mean being alone. It means making your own choices. And I'm choosing family. I'm choosing love. I'm choosing to build a life that includes the people who matter most to me." I paused. "Besides, this house is big enough for both of us. We can each have our space and our privacy. But we can also have family dinners and movie nights and help each other through the hard times." I thought about Emma's proposal. The idea of having my daughter close by, of sharing meals and conversations and daily life with her, filled me with joy. But I also wanted to make sure she was making this decision for the right reasons. "Emma, you're a young woman. You should be out in the world, meeting people, building your own life. I don't want you to limit yourself because of me." "Mom, I'm not limiting myself," Emma said patiently. "I'm choosing what makes me happy. And what makes me happy is being close to my family. Can still date. I can still have friends and hobbies and a career. But I want to do all of that while living in the same house as the person I love most in the world." She took my hands in hers. "The past 4 weeks have shown me what matters most in life. It's not independence for the sake of independence. It's love and family and taking care of each other." I looked into Emma's eyes and saw the same determination I remembered from when she was a little girl deciding she wanted to learn to ride a bike or play the piano. When Emma made up her mind about something important, she didn't change it easily. And this decision was clearly important to her. "If this is what you really want," I said slowly, "then nothing would make me happier than having you here." Emma's face lit up with joy. "Really? You mean it?" "I mean it," I said. "But on one condition." Emma looked worried. "What condition?" No more pretending you're doing me a favor by being here. If we're going to live together, it has to be because we both want it, not because either of us feels obligated. Emma laughed and hugged me tight. Deal. Though I still say taking care of you is a privilege, not a favor. That night I lay in bed listening to Emma moving around the house, getting ready for bed in what was now officially her home again. I could hear her brushing her teeth, talking softly to Whiskers, humming that same song she had been humming earlier. These were the sounds of family, the sounds of love, the sounds of home. I thought about how much my life had changed in one single day. This morning I had been a worried mother, afraid of being a burden to her daughter. Tonight I was a grateful mother who had learned that love sees burdens as privileges, that caring for family brings joy instead of sacrifice, and that sometimes the greatest gift is simply being needed by someone you love. My hearing loss had been frightening and difficult, but it had also been a blessing in disguise. It had brought Emma home. It had shown me how much my daughter loved me. It had given us both a chance to care for each other in new ways. And getting my hearing back had allowed me to understand the depth of Emma's love and commitment. As I drifted off to sleep, I could hear Emma in her room, probably reading or maybe writing in the journal she had kept since college. Tomorrow we would start our new life together. Two women who had chosen family over independence, love over convenience, and each other over everything else. I fell asleep with a smile on my face and the sound of my daughter's presence filling our home with warmth and love. The next morning I woke up to the sound of Emma making breakfast in the kitchen. I could hear her humming, hear the bacon sizzling in the pan, hear the coffee maker gurgling. These were the sounds of home, the sounds I had missed during my 4 weeks of silence. I got dressed and went downstairs to find Emma at the stove, wearing the apron I had given her for her birthday years ago. "Good morning, Mom," Emma said cheerfully when she saw me. "I made pancakes. Your favorite." "Good morning, sweetheart," I replied, still amazed at being able to have a normal conversation with my daughter. "They smell wonderful." We sat down to breakfast together, and for the first time in 4 weeks, we were able to talk while we ate. We discussed our plans for the day, for the week, for Emma's permanent move back home. "I called my landlord this morning," Emma said. "I'm giving notice on my apartment. I can be completely moved back in by the end of the month." "Are you absolutely certain about this?" I asked one more time. "Mom, I've never been more certain of anything in my life," Emma replied. "This is where I belong. This is where I'm happy. This is home." She reached across the table and took my hand. "Besides, someone needs to make sure you eat proper meals and don't try to fix the leaky faucet by yourself." I laughed. "That faucet has been leaking for 6 months. I keep meaning to call a plumber." "I'll call one today," Emma said. "See, you need me around." We both laughed, and I realized this was exactly what I had been missing. Not just the ability to hear, but the ability to share ordinary moments with my daughter. The comfortable conversations, the shared laughter, the simple pleasure of eating breakfast together. Over the next few weeks, Emma gradually moved her belongings back into our house. She turned the guest room into her permanent bedroom, setting up her desk and bookshelves and making it her own space. But most evenings found us together in the living room or kitchen, talking about our days, watching movies, or just enjoying each other's company. People sometimes asked Emma if she missed living on her own, if she felt like she was giving up her independence by moving back home with her mother. Emma's answer was always the same. "I'm not giving up my independence. I'm choosing what makes me happy. And what makes me happy is being close to my family." 6 months later, I realized that Emma had been right about everything. Living together didn't mean losing our independence. It meant creating a home filled with love and support and laughter. Emma had her own friends and activities and interests. I had mine. But we also had each other, and that made everything better. One evening as we were cleaning up after dinner, Emma said, "Mom, can I tell you something?" "Of course, sweetheart." "I'm glad you lost your hearing for those 4 weeks," she said. "Not because I wanted you to suffer, but because it showed both of us what really matters. It brought us closer together. It gave us this." She gestured around our kitchen, at our home, at the life we had built together. I understood exactly what Emma meant. My temporary hearing loss had been a gift in disguise. It had shown me the depth of my daughter's love. It had brought us together in a new way. It had taught us both that caring for family is not a burden but a privilege, that love expresses itself through action, and that sometimes the greatest happiness comes from choosing each other. I'm glad too, I told Emma. Not for the hearing loss itself, but for what it taught us about each other and about ourselves. We finished cleaning the kitchen together, as we did every evening, talking and laughing and simply enjoying each other's company. This was our life now, mother and daughter, choosing family and love in each other every single day. Emma was right when she said that independence doesn't mean being alone. It means making your own choices about what kind of life you want to live and who you want to share it with. We had both chosen family. We had both chosen love. We had both chosen each other. That night, as I listened to Emma getting ready for bed in her room down the hall, I felt nothing but gratitude. Gratitude for my restored hearing. Gratitude for my wonderful daughter. Gratitude for the love that filled our home. And gratitude for the lesson I had learned. That sometimes the most beautiful thing you can hear is not what someone says to you, but what they say about you when they think you can't hear. My hearing had returned, but more importantly, I had discovered something about my daughter that changed my understanding of our relationship forever. Emma didn't see me as a burden. She saw me as her beloved mother who deserved care and love and attention. She saw caring for me not as a sacrifice but as a joy, not as a duty but as a privilege. The first thing my daughter said when she thought I couldn't hear her was that I was the strongest person she knew. But the truth is, she's the strong one. She's the one who chose love over convenience, family over independence, caring over comfort. As the months passed, our life together settled into a comfortable rhythm. Emma had her job at the local library, her book club meetings, her weekend hikes with friends. I had my gardening, my volunteer work at the community center, my Tuesday morning coffee group with the neighbors. But we also had our shared rituals. Sunday morning pancakes, Wednesday evening movies, Friday night cooking experiments where we tried new recipes together. Emma brought friends home regularly, and our house became a gathering place for her social circle. Young people would drop by for dinner or game nights, filling our home with laughter and energy. "Your mom is so cool," I heard one of Emma's friends say one evening. "My mom would never let me move back home without making me feel guilty about it." Emma's response made my heart swell with pride. My mom understands that family is about supporting each other, not judging each other. One day, Emma came home from work with exciting news. "Mom, I've been offered a promotion," she said. "They want me to become the head librarian." I was thrilled for her. "That's wonderful, sweetheart. You've worked so hard for this." Emma paused, looking slightly worried. "There's just one thing. The position requires some travel to conferences and training sessions. Few days each month. Would you be okay on your own?" I laughed and hugged her tight. "Emma, I'm perfectly capable of taking care of myself for a few days at a time. I managed for 50 years before you moved back home." She looked relieved. "I know, I just worry about leaving you alone. And I love that you care," I said. "But part of loving each other is trusting each other to be independent when we need to be." Emma accepted the promotion and excelled in her new role. When she traveled for work, we talked every evening by phone. When she was home, she would tell me about the conferences she attended, the new program she was developing, the community she was helping to serve. Watching Emma grow and succeed in her career while still maintaining our close relationship filled me with immense pride. 2 years after Emma moved back home, she met David at a library conference. He was a teacher from the next town over, kind and funny and clearly smitten with my daughter. Emma brought him home for dinner one evening, nervous about introducing us. "Mom, this is David," she said. "David, this is my mom, the most important person in my life." David was wonderful. He treated Emma with respect and affection, and he seemed genuinely interested in getting to know me as well. Over dinner, he asked thoughtful questions about my gardening and my volunteer work. He listened to our family stories and shared some of his own. Most importantly, he clearly understood and respected Emma's close relationship with me. After David left that evening, Emma and I sat in the living room talking about him. "He seems lovely," I told her. "But more importantly, what do you think about him?" Emma's face glowed with happiness. "I think I'm falling in love with him, Mom. He's everything I've been looking for in a partner." He paused. "And he understands about us. He knows how important our relationship is, and he respects that." Over the following months, David became a regular presence in our home. He would join us for Sunday morning pancakes and Wednesday evening movies. He helped me in the garden and listened to my stories about Emma's childhood. He never made Emma feel like she had to choose between her relationship with him and her relationship with me. One evening, David asked to speak with me privately. "Mrs. Johnson," he said, "I want to ask Emma to marry me. But first I wanted to talk to you." My heart raced with excitement and a touch of worry. "What did you want to discuss?" "Yes." David took a deep breath. "I want you to know that if Emma says yes, nothing will change between you two. I would never ask her to choose between her husband and her mother. I love Emma's independence," David continued, "but I also love her loyalty to family. The way she cares for you isn't a burden to our relationship. It's one of the things I admire most about her. If we get married, I hope we can build a home that always has room for you, whether that means living together or just being closely involved in each other's lives." I felt tears spring to my eyes. This wonderful man understood what so many people didn't: that love multiplies rather than divides, that caring for family strengthens rather than weakens other relationships, and that the best partnerships are built on shared values rather than exclusive claims. "David," I said, "you have my blessing. Not that Emma needs it, but you have it anyway." David proposed to Emma on a Saturday morning in our garden, surrounded by the flowers we had planted together. Emma said yes, and then she ran inside to find me, her engagement ring sparkling on her finger. "Mom," she cried, "David proposed. We're getting married." I hugged her tight, feeling nothing but pure joy for my daughter's happiness. As we began planning Emma's wedding, I was amazed by how naturally David fit into our family dynamic. He helped with the arrangements, offered thoughtful suggestions, and made it clear that this was not just Emma's wedding but a celebration that included everyone who mattered to her. "I'm not just marrying Emma," he told me one day. "I'm joining your family." The wedding was beautiful, held in our backyard under the oak tree where Emma used to swing as a child. As I watched my daughter marry this wonderful man who understood and respected our bond, I felt nothing but gratitude. Emma had found someone who saw her love for family as a strength rather than a weakness, someone who wanted to build a life that included rather than excluded the people she cared about. After the wedding, Emma and David moved into a house just 5 minutes away from mine. Close enough for daily contact, far enough for privacy and independence. We continued our Sunday morning pancakes, now with David joining us. We continued our Wednesday evening movies, now sometimes at their house instead of mine. The traditions adapted but remained strong. A year after their wedding, Emma announced that she was pregnant. I was going to be a grandmother. As Emma's pregnancy progressed, I marveled at how naturally she and David included me in their preparations. They asked my advice about baby names and nursery decorations. They invited me to doctor's appointments and birthing classes. They made it clear that I would be an important part of their child's life. When little Sarah was born, I was one of the first people to hold her. Emma placed her daughter in my arms and said, "Mom, meet your granddaughter. Sarah, meet the woman who taught me everything I know about being a mother." Looking down at that perfect little face, I felt the circle of love expanding once again. This tiny person would grow up knowing that family means caring for each other across generations. As Sarah grew from baby to toddler to preschooler, our family traditions expanded to include her. Sunday morning pancakes became a 3-generation affair, with Sarah helping to mix the batter and flip the pancakes. Wednesday evening movies became cartoon afternoons followed by grown-up films after Sarah's bedtime. Our garden became a place where Sarah learned to plant seeds and water flowers alongside her grandmother. Emma proved to be a wonderful mother, patient and loving and wise. Watching her with Sarah, I could see the same qualities that had made her such a caring daughter. She was teaching Sarah the same lessons about family and love and loyalty that she had learned in our home. The values were passing from one generation to the next. One afternoon, as Sarah and I were working in the garden together, she looked up at me with her big brown eyes and said, "Grandma, why do some kids' grandmas live far away, but you live close to us?" I thought about how to explain our family's choice in terms a 4-year-old could understand. "Because your mommy and I love being close to each other," I said. "We take care of each other, just like you take care of your dolls." Sarah nodded seriously. "Like how mommy took care of you when your ears were broken." I smiled, amazed that Emma had shared that story with her daughter. "Exactly like that," I said. "And like how I take care of you when mommy and daddy go out for their date nights. And like how I take care of my baby brother when he cries," Sarah added. Emma was pregnant again, and Sarah was excited about becoming a big sister. When baby Michael was born, our family grew again. Now Sunday morning pancakes required a high chair and a booster seat. Wednesday movie nights included lullabies and bedtime stories. Our garden hosted tea parties and treasure hunts. The house that had once felt too quiet after Emma grew up and moved away was now filled with the sounds of children's laughter and family love. As I watched Emma juggle motherhood and career with the same grace she had shown in caring for me during my hearing loss, I realized that the lessons we had learned together were serving her well in every aspect of her life. She had learned that love is shown through actions, that caring for others brings joy rather than burden, and that family means being there for each other through all of life's changes. Sometimes people would ask me if I ever regretted not remarrying after Emma's father died, if I ever felt like I had missed out on companionship by focusing so much on raising my daughter. My answer was always the same. I had never felt alone because I had Emma. And now I had David and Sarah and Michael too. Love had multiplied rather than remained finite. Emma's choice to move back home after my hearing loss had set in motion a series of events that had enriched all our lives. If she had remained distant, focused only on her own independence, she might never have met David at that conference. She might never have learned to balance career and family so gracefully. She might never have experienced the deep joy that comes from choosing love over convenience. Now, 5 years after my hearing returned, I can honestly say that those 4 weeks of deafness were among the most important of my life. Not because of the silence itself, but because of what I heard when the silence ended. I heard my daughter's true feelings. I heard her love and loyalty and commitment. I heard the depth of her character and the strength of her values. Most importantly, I heard that I had succeeded as a mother. Not because Emma never needed help, but because she knew how to give help. Not because she was perfectly independent, but because she understood the difference between healthy independence and lonely isolation. Not because she never made sacrifices, but because she saw those sacrifices as expressions of love rather than burdens to bear. Today, as I sit in my garden watching Sarah and Michael play while Emma and David prepare dinner in the kitchen, I am filled with gratitude for the journey that brought us here. My temporary hearing loss taught me that sometimes we need to lose something to truly appreciate what we have. Sometimes we need to be vulnerable to discover how much we are loved. The sound of my family's voices fills the air around me. Sarah chattering about her day at preschool. Michael babbling his first words. Emma and David discussing their plans for the weekend. These are the sounds that matter most, the sounds of love and connection and belonging. I think about all the mothers who worry about being burdens to their children, all the daughters who feel guilty about the choices they make between family and independence. I want to tell them what I learned. That love sees caring as privilege rather than burden, that the strongest families are built on mutual support rather than complete independence, and that sometimes the most beautiful thing you can hear is what someone says about you when they think you can't hear. Emma comes out to the garden carrying baby Michael, with Sarah skipping along beside her. "Mom," Emma says, "dinner's ready. David made your favorite chicken casserole." I stand up, brushing soil from my hands, and follow my family inside. As we gather around the table for our evening meal, I say a silent prayer of gratitude for the hearing loss that brought us closer together and the restored hearing that allows me to enjoy every sound of our life together. The conversation flows easily around our dinner table. Emma tells us about a new reading program she's developing at the library. David shares funny stories from his classroom. Sarah announces that she wants to be a gardener like Grandma when she grows up. Michael pounds his spoon on his high chair tray, adding his own contribution to the family discussion. This is what I almost missed during those weeks of silence. Not just the words but the music underneath them. The rhythm of family life, the harmony of people who love each other. The symphony of connection that plays out in ordinary moments around ordinary dinner tables in families who have chosen each other over and over again. After dinner, as Emma and David clean the kitchen and I help Sarah with her bath, I reflect on how much has changed since that day 5 years ago when my hearing returned. Emma has grown into an even more remarkable woman. David has become like a son to me. Sarah and Michael have brought new dimensions of love and joy to our family. But some things have remained constant. Emma still calls me every day when she's traveling for work. We still have our Sunday morning pancake tradition. We still watch movies together on Wednesday evenings. We still talk about everything and nothing, sharing our thoughts and feelings and dreams with the openness that comes from knowing we are truly known and loved. As I tuck Sarah into bed and listen to her prayers, she includes everyone in our family in her list of people she's grateful for. Thank you for Mommy and Daddy and baby Michael and Grandma, and for the flowers in Grandma's garden, and for the pancakes on Sunday morning, she whispers. From the mouth of a child comes wisdom about what really matters in life. Later that evening, after David has gone home and Emma is nursing Michael to sleep, she and I sit on the front porch swing that Emma's father built years ago. The evening air is warm, and fireflies dance in the garden. Mom, Emma says quietly, do you ever wonder what would have happened if your hearing had never come back? I consider her question seriously. I think we would have found our way to each other anyway, I say. Maybe not in exactly the same way, but love finds a way. You would have learned sign language. We would have developed new ways to communicate. The important thing wasn't that I could hear your words. The important thing was that you spoke them with love. Emma nods thoughtfully. I've been thinking about that too, she says. Those 4 weeks when you couldn't hear taught me something important about myself. I discovered that taking care of someone I love doesn't diminish me, fulfills me. I learned that I'm happiest when I'm connected to family, not when I'm proving how independent I can be. And I learned, I reply, that being cared for doesn't make me weak or burdensome, makes me grateful and loved. You showed me that accepting help is sometimes the greatest gift we can give to someone who wants to show their love through action. We sit in comfortable silence for a while, listening to the night sounds around us and feeling the deep contentment that comes from being exactly where we belong. Emma shifts Michael to her other arm and looks at me with shining eyes. Mom, I need to tell you something. David and I have been talking, and we want to ask you to move in with us when the new baby comes. I'm surprised by her offer. The new baby? Yes. Emma grins. I haven't announced it yet, but I'm pregnant again. This will be our 3rd child, and we're going to need all the help we can get. Emma, I say carefully, are you asking me to move in because you need help, or because you think I need care? She laughs. Neither. I'm asking because I want my children to grow up in a house filled with multigenerational love. I want them to see how families take care of each other. I want them to learn from their grandmother the same way I learned from mine. I think about Emma's offer. The idea of living in the same house as my daughter and her growing family fills me with joy. But I also want to make sure we're making this decision for the right reasons. What about your independence as a couple? Yes. What about privacy and space to grow your marriage? Mom, Emma says patiently, David and I have been together for 4 years now. We know how to be independent when we need to be and connected when we want to be. Having you live with us won't change that. It will just mean our children get to know their grandmother as a daily presence in their lives instead of a weekend visitor. I look around at the garden Emma and I planted together, at the house where we learned to be family to each other, at the porch where we've shared so many conversations and so much love. Are you sure? Ask one more time. Are you absolutely certain this is what you want? Emma reaches over and takes my hand. Mom, 5 years ago you taught me that family means choosing each other every day. You taught me that caring for people we love is a privilege, not a burden. You taught me that the strongest people are those who know how to give and receive love equally. Now I want to teach my children those same lessons. I squeeze Emma's hand and smile through tears of joy. Then yes, I say. Yes, I would love to live with your beautiful family and help raise another generation of children who understand what love looks like in action. As we sit on the porch swing, planning our future together, I am filled with gratitude for the journey that brought us here. My hearing returned 5 years ago, but what I truly gained was the knowledge that I am deeply and completely loved. And that, more than any sound in the world, is the most beautiful thing anyone could ever hope to hear. If you enjoyed this story, please like this video, subscribe to Granny's Voice, and share your thoughts in the comments below. What would you do if you suddenly regained your hearing and overheard a conversation about yourself? Click the video on the left to hear another heartwarming story. Thank you for listening.